Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the most interactive wrestling show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. It is December 15th, already December. It is December 15th, 2024. 2024 is winding down, yet I am still here giving you my takes, my thoughts, and all of the great professional wrestling news you could ever want. You guys know the deal with this show. Leave a chat, leave a super chat. We will read everything as it comes in. This is a fan-controlled show, so if you say it in the chat, I'll probably talk about it. We got a lot to get to today. Saturday night's main event was last night. I thought for what it was a pretty good show. I think many people were expecting PLE level stuff. Wasn't never going to be that, but we will talk about it. We also got to talk about AEW. Also have to talk about AEW for, I believe, the third, either second or third, I believe, consecutive week, falling below 500 or 600,000. Excuse me. Oh my God, 500,000 would have been crazy. AEW Dynamite for the third consecutive week, falling below 300. Jesus, that's collision. Falling below 600,000. That is what I'm trying to say. I'm recovering from being sick this week, so please bear with me. It's why my beard is so scruffy. I literally just woke up. It's why my voice sounds like what it does. But we are going to persevere. And you guys can help me persevere and help me make feel a lot better about myself by hitting that like button, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. But guys, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get to our first chat today. I'm objectively balanced and on the ball. It's a fantastic name for a wrestling fan on the internet. Why is TK booking Jamie Hayter to lose in matches with girls that they also shouldn't be losing and keeping the belt on Mariah when it needs to go to Mercedes going into the new deal? Well, there's a lot being said there. First, I'll just hit on the Mariah May Mercedes point. I mean, I think they made the decision a long time ago that they wanted to use the TBS title to with Mercedes, and I think the reason for that is have Mercedes build up the TBS championship and give it more credibility because she has held it in a similar way that you have Okada, or in a similar thought I should say, is you have Okada holding the WWE. The AEW Continental Championship. Or in the same way, remember a couple of years ago when John Cena would hold the United States Championship? I think it's a little bit of that. Doesn't mean she won't go for the World Championship one day. I just think right now it's her and the TBS Championship that are going to be aligned. As for Mariah, I think Mariah as champion has actually been great. I wish there was more of her on TV. Like, honestly, I wish there was more Mariah May on TV because I think she's a very compelling heel character. And the thing with AEW right now, and this is like a running trend that I've noticed the past couple of months with AEW, it's like, it is actually a problem that I used to have with WWE. It was like that thing of, this was good, but it could have been a lot better, And it's like, and again, that's the way that comes across, I'm sure, is like, oh, these marks don't like anything or whatever, but it's like genuine. I think there was a time where when AEW do something, and then there were times this year when like AEW would do something, it would be like, this is like the best version of whatever this could be. And it was like nonstop, week after week after week after week after week. Excuse me, I am sick, so I'm going to be doing that, making that noise every now and then. But recently, it just feels like they haven't been doing that. And I think part of it is like, I think the way they book for TV right now is kind of weird, especially for Dynamite. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It seems off. To your Jamie Hayter point, I agree. I don't know what you do with Julia and Jamie Hayter from like a booking standpoint. As a fan, I think it's interesting and it's fun and it's going to be a cool match to see at World's End. But as like from a booking standpoint, it does make you wonder, like, who takes the pin in that, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna have like a damn, interference? No, Like, AEW does that way too often. We've seen interferences in the Continental Classic. So, like, I don't know. I don't like the shenanigans. I think AEW should stop with the shenanigans. It should just give me good wrestling. Just give me good wrestling and put someone over. I am not worried about, like, either Jamie Hayter or Julia Hart taking a loss because both of them can survive that. I think the bigger issue is AEW needs to have someone win. In the same way that Hangman Adam Page, and this is where I'll give him credit, Hangman Adam Page, Jay White. Jay White pins Hangman Adam Page clean every single time. And you can tell a story of that wrestler has that wrestler's number. That's just how it is, right? You know, so some things just never. Ric Flair will always turn on Sting, and Sting will always fall for Ric Flair's trap. That is a continuum in all of professional wrestling, right? Continuum in all of professional wrestling. It will always happen. You can do a similar thing there. You can do a similar thing with them that they've done with Hangman Page and Jay White, in my view. Wrestlers and staff need to go talk with Tony and help him see he isn't helping the company. Yeah, I mean, we might as well just talk about the Tony Khan thing now. So, I am on record as saying for 2024, and I still believe this to be true, the best booker for the entire year has been Tony Khan. And I will repeat that till I'm blue in the face. I think the stuff that he did, whether it was like Sting's last match of Revolution, which I think is genuinely, I don't think that there has been anything that Tony Khan has booked or will ever book that is better than that. That is better than the feud and everything leading up to and during Sting's last match. I think it is, you want peak booking, that's peak booking in my view. But that being said, I think, you know, even though that was great, even though I thought June to September, AEW was on a roll when it comes to like TV and pay-per-views and booking, on an absolute roll. Last couple of months, it's been a bit of a downward tilt. You know, I enjoyed Wrestle Dream. It's a fun show. Except for the fact that Bryan Danielson was murdered. They murdered him. It was a fun show. Full Gear was also a fun show. And the pay-per-views are not a problem. But the booking on Dynamite has taken like a massive step back in the past couple of weeks. And I'm not talking about just from a ratings perspective, but I also think from like a fan perspective. Like, is it still an enjoyable show overall? Sure. But the feeling and that spark of it being must-see is no longer there for me. And if it's no longer there for me, then I assume that for many people out there, it either is also gone or it was gone a long time ago. And this is not a Tony Khan needs to give up the book video or stream or whatever. This is not me saying that Tony Khan needs to sell the company. Oh, Jesus Christ, you have so many fucking grifters out there. Tony Khan needs to sell the company, bro. The fuck up. Like, be real, bro. Be fucking real. The issue is not, you know, just Tony Khan. I think the issue more broadly is like, what is AEW trying to accomplish week in, week out? And I think there were a couple of months there where it was kind of clear. They had clear storytelling. They had clear a vision for what the next couple of months were going to be. Outside of Mox and the Death Riders, I don't see too much of that. We just got Tony Storm back, so I guess you can put a notch in that belt. But I'm just not seeing what the vision is. And that is something that I've always usually been able to see with AEW. And even if you weren't able to see it, right, you would be excited at least about, like, okay, well, this is possible. XYZ is possible. That excitement isn't there anymore. And I think this, look, WWE Cody era brings up a good point. Man is burning himself out, booking 4 shows by himself. He shouldn't be doing that. I think Tony Khan should only be concerned with Dynamite and a high-level view of Collision. Like, I understand wanting to book ROH. I totally do. But there is a reason why Vince McMahon wasn't booking NXT. Because that would require more time away from WWE TV. And when he did, when him and Bruce Pritchard were the ones booking NXT, it coincided with probably NXT's worst time. Both from fan engagement and from the product, right? NXT 2.0, whoa, it was trash. Garbage. That's why they brought in Shawn Michaels to help fix that and take control of that. You're telling me Jerry Lynn, someone who has more professional wrestling like experience and expertise than most people in the planet ever will? You're telling me he can't do that for ROH? ROH legend Jerry Lynn, who understood that at one point ROH had a vision. You want to talk about there not being a vision for AEW? There is no vision for ROH. Like, there's negative vision for that. ROH is just where, like, the side quests happen. And is there hype around Final Battle? Sure. But hype doesn't equal great booking. And I want to be clear. I genuinely believe that Tony Khan is capable of booking great wrestling even in the next couple of months. Like, the fact of the matter is, he is responsible for some of the best professional wrestling booking we've seen over the past couple of years. That is just true. I mentioned Sting's last match. I mentioned the lead up to All In 2021. You also have historic shows like the lead up to All In 2023. You have just this past summer the lead up to All In 2024. You have I could literally go on. The pandemic, when WWE struggled to book, when WWE struggled to get people over, when WWE struggled to put on shows that were engaging to the fans, Tony Khan and AEW, and again, I'm sure there were other people there who were part of whatever committee or whatever who came up with this with Tony, but they innovated. They were able to tell stories from Daily's Place. They were able to make it engaging. They were able to make it a fun show. They were able to suspend your disbelief and make you forget about everything that was going on. It's no longer there. It's no longer like that. And again, the turn can be quick. The turn can be fast, but it needs to happen. Like, the biggest thing really is, you know what it is, man? It comes down to, I don't understand sometimes the motivations of these characters. In the ring, like the in-ring product is always going to be good with AEW. Like, don't ever get me wrong. In the ring, they are leagues above any other company when it comes to that. Any other major company when it comes to that in North America. It's just true. Like, WWE, some people might like the style. In person, sure, it's engaging or whatever. But, like, when you're watching it week in, week out, it's very slow, methodical, and, like, it just doesn't, like, it's like get to the point sometimes, right? AEW is, we're going to give you action. We're going to give you, like, everything. And that is great. You need that. And AEW should lean into that. But it can't be the only thing they do. You also need to be able to either through the match or beforehand tell me why. And I think the why has been missing here for the last couple of months. I understand that Jon Moxley has the world championship in this briefcase. I understand that Jon Moxley, I think because he hasn't said this, wants to save AEW. But he never explained the mission statement. And if you want to keep it a secret, that's fine. But it needs to build up to something. It needs to build up to a reveal. It needs to build up to us finding out more information. It needs to build up to like something that's going to keep fans engaged and wanting to tune in. I understand that the Death Riders are bad guys who do bad things. But why? What are their motivations? Are we going to find out at the next pay-per-view? Are we going to find out at next week's Dynamite? What's going on, right? Like, I think there's a disconnect, right? Because I think on one hand, I think from maybe like their team has decided, well, we kind of explained this a little bit, and we feel like we explained it enough, and we can just move on with like the story and like the filler. And I'm just like, man, you can't just do filler. You can't just do filler. It just feels like sometimes, man, these things are just rushed and thrown together sometimes. And again, I've been on record saying, like, I still prefer AEW over WWE most weeks. That doesn't mean that it's as good as it should be. We got not quite TNA levels of killing characters. No. Anyone who compares like AEW today to like, TNA and like, what was it, 2011 or oh my God, the one I get all the time is like WCW 2000. I'm like, anyone who claims that what AEW is doing now is anywhere akin to WCW 2000 is like smoking something highly illegal. And don't call the cops on them, because we don't do that here. But like, definitely, get them help. Get them help, because I worry. I worry, because you obviously did not see WCW 2000. I've watched every WCW 2000 pay-per-view. I've watched probably like 30 Nitros. It's not good. There's level. You know how like people say there's levels to this? There's levels to shit in professional wrestling. That is next level shit right there. AEW's main problem is they don't establish Dynamite. Another thing is, how can you have Ring of Honor as a development for wrestlers to the main roster when it looks like an indie show? I mean, I don't even care about the indie show stuff. Like, I think the bigger problem is like, why are you recording Ring of Honor? I mean, I know why, but like, it's like you're recording Ring of Honor in the same arenas as like Collision and Dynamite. I know why, because you want to save money and you have many of the same characters, but there not being a delineation or a clear delineation from like who's on Dynamite and who's on ROH is it makes ROH feel lazy and more unwatchable than it already is. And it muddles up like the waters for the fans who are there, because they're not there to see ROH. ROH is not on the banner. Those fans did not come there to see a Ring of Honor show. They came there to see AEW. That's why they're not engaged. That's why they don't recognize the people. That's why they don't recognize the talent. So, like, I don't know, man. They need to stop just having one-off matches on TV and focus more on building the big payoff on pay-per-view. Like Darby versus Ospreay for the first time. I don't mind that, though. It's happening in the Continental Classic. I think the Continental Classic is probably one of the best things that AEW does every year. Like last year, like it was a shot in the arm to that company. It was a big shot in the arm to that company at a time where they needed it, because given where that Devil storyline was going, yeah, man. I don't know what to say, man. It was crazy. But they needed that, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a good way to keep people involved, to tell stories with people that usually get lost in the shuffle. Andrade became a big fixture of the Continental Classic. So I think there's a way to do it. There's a way to have those. I don't mind Darby and Ospreay happening for the first time in the Continental Classic, because you look at some of the big matches in New Japan history, they happened in the G1 for the first time, and then they went off and had more feuds. That's not the issue to me, because within the Continental Classic, there is a reason why these two are wrestling. There is a reason why this match is happening. It's not just next week on Dynamite, we're gonna give you Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Oh, I mean, well, even then, like, it's like, okay, they did that. My dumbass is tuning in because it's Okada and Kenny Omega, but like, Okay, that was the worst example I probably could have given, because that probably doesn't even need storytelling to do it. They can just do it. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, they're gonna blow off like Hangman and Okada. Okay, that's another one. Hangman and Okada next week. I'm like, oh, like, okay, cool, but like, why? You know? Mike in the chat. What's up, Mike? Good to see you, my friend. It's a nice Christmas sweater. Thank you. Reason or excuse? No, reason. I think Continental Classic is a reason for people to wrestle. Like, I think part of it is like WWE never did this, so for a lot of people, they're not used to like the round robin tournament being like a big thing. Like, but New Japan's been doing it for years, like decades. And you know, I very much enjoy the G1. I very much enjoy the Continental Classic. Like, I think it helps AEW. I think it makes the show more exciting. But like at the same time, I do think, like, you know, I'm looking at like the card, or not the card, but the entrance for the Continental Classic this year could have been a lot better. And I know Juice Robinson got hurt or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like it could have been a lot better. But I think it's a reason more so than an excuse. And I mean, like, you want to look at it like this, man. Like, I mean, what's the reason for like Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley wrestling for the 15th time, right, on WWE? No. Rhea Ripley interrupting Liv Morgan last night was an excuse to eventually get to that match, right? Which is fine. Like, again, it is what it is. But I just don't think that you need to. I just don't think AEW in their other story, like, I'm talking about like the mostly like the main stories like that are happening on Dynamite and stuff like that, like outside of the Continental Classic, like, I don't know. I just feel like the why is missing, and it's making the show less exciting. Roddy Too Good, welcome to the chat. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. How do you feel about Darby recruiting Will for help against the Death Riders? Okay. Now we're getting to the good stuff. And thank you so much, Roddy. I appreciate you. I am going to spend a good amount of time on this. So, excuse me. Again, getting over a cold, so bear with me. There's going to be noises coming out of this thing that are insane. But I think it would be great. I don't know if that is what they are going to do. I hope they do. I hope they really, really do. I hope that in a couple of months, you have an AEW All-Star team that goes to take on the Death Riders. I hope you have Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Darby Allin. Like, I hope you have all those guys going up toe-to-toe with the Death Riders. But I also hope at a certain point, you have the Death Riders like slowly start to get people. Because again, I may not know exactly why Jon Moxley is doing what he's doing, but if I'm like inferring, right, it's because he believes that AEW needs to go in a certain direction. He believes that he's the only one who can take it in that direction. Otherwise, AEW will die. And he'd either kill it by himself, or save it, but he is not going to watch it die like this. And in my view, I think there's a lot of compelling story that could be told with the Death Riders literally being like a cancer that's infecting AEW. What is that old Vince line? I'm gonna inject some poison into my own creation. Like, yeah, do that. I would love that. I would love to see that. And yes, I think Darby Allin should help recruit Will Ospreay and get him involved in this. Because if you're telling me, like, the end goal could be Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley at AEW All In Globe Life Stadium, Texas, boom. You want to sell tickets to that show? That's an awesome main event. That is a major main event. That is probably what you need to do. Mox wasn't even at this year's All In. So, definitely think Darby should start recruiting Will and get Will involved here. He's kind of like, and you could even do a story where Will Ospreay right now is doing like this, like, he's kind of lost his smile. Like, he's doing this thing where he's lost his smile. You know, he's coming out with like the black gear on. You know, his entrance theme. If you look at the Titantron, it used to be green, like really bright green. Now it's like all black. Like, you could do something where Will Ospreay is being recruited by the Death Riders, and then he has to pick between AEW and the Death Riders. He ends up picking AEW, and that's how we build to him versus Mox at All In. Excuse me. Bianca versus Rhea for the Women's World Championship at Mania. I hope so. Because, goddamn it, if it is Liv versus Rhea, you're going to be hearing from me. They did it all right on Collision. Yeah, I watched like about half of Collision. I just didn't have a chance to get all the way through it yet because I was watching Saturday Night's Main Event too. But Collision was really good. I did love the Julia Hart return, for sure. Yeah, Darby joined the House of Black against the Death Riders. I could see that. I just I don't know. I just don't know where the House of Black kind of fit in outside of Brody King right now. Tony Khan just needs to be the owner instead of being a creator. We say that, right? But it's also like Tony's responsible for some of the best booking decisions and best booked feuds, of the past 5 years. So, I think, again, and I'm not going to pretend like I know the inner workings of AEW, I'm someone else out there who's like, AEW needs to do this. I know things on the inside, But, I do think that, taking things off of Tony's plate, he should not be booking Rampage. I'm sorry. He should not be booking Rampage. High level, sure. Hey, I want this, and this to advance on Rampage. Okay, Tony. I don't know, Will Washington or Jerry Lynn or whoever, Dean Malenko, take it from here. Do that. Bring in Bryan Danielson. I think Bryan Danielson should be on that booking committee. And I know, he's talked about it before, but I think Bryan Danielson on that booking committee would definitely help. But at the end of the day, you also got to remember, Bryan Danielson's like me. He is a sicko. And you can only get so far booking for the sickos like me, right? You can only get so far booking for sickos like me. I disagree with your comment, AEW going to die because of a lot of people saying the same thing. I didn't say AEW is going to die. Oh, I said that in the terms of the story, Kervin. I meant Moxley is saying AEW is either going to die or whatever. Why you sound like hating the company's struggle? What? Damn, brother, why you sound like hating the company's struggle right now? I don't hate the company. Come on, man. I don't hate the company. That's crazy. To think I hate AEW is crazy. I am just telling the truth, all right? They have fallen below 600,000 viewers on average the past 3 weeks. That is a fucking problem. Take me as a wrestling fan out of it. From a business standpoint, that is a fucking problem, all right? I am looking at, the ratings, and people cord cutting is a major part of why people are leaving and maybe not watching, and there's going to be a drop off, but it shouldn't be 24% quarter to quarter. All right, 24% quarter to quarter, year over year, right? Or sorry, year over year, not quarter to quarter. Excuse me, but 24% from last year, your viewership is down. That is not just account for cord cutting. That indicates that your product is less hot, that your product is being watched by significantly and is interested in by significantly less people, and that there is something up, all right? That there is an issue. There is a freaking issue here. Last year, around the same time, December Q4 of 2023, they were at 800,000 viewers minimum per week. Right now, they are averaging 600,000. That is an issue. And I know that they just got this massive contract, and it's a good thing they did because they have some time to figure things out. They have some time to really go in and fix what's going on. And I think Max is going to help with this. I think Max could play actually a great deal in getting more new people involved and interested in AEW. But I also think that they need to reckon with this being a problem from a business standpoint strictly. All right, take me as a wrestling fan completely out of it. And again, AEW Dynamite is probably my favorite wrestling show week in, week out. That doesn't mean it can't be better. For the longest time, SmackDown was my favorite wrestling show. Back in 2016, 2018, that was my favorite wrestling show. Does not mean that things could not have been way better on SmackDown and WWE in general. Right? So it is not hating, man. My guy, it's not hating. And all big love to you, Big Bucks. I've seen you in the chat before, but it's not hating. It is just me trying to convey like the truth. Like, like this is a bad sign. It's a bad sign of the popularity for AEW. And even if it was like 600-something thousand, that's still not good to be averaging at. The fact that they can't crack 700,000 anymore is a problem. It is a problem. Because if they were sitting between 700 and 800,000, I don't think it would have been a big deal. But for them, losing an extra 100,000 there in live viewership is a problem. The issue is the same thing with the NBA. No one wants to pay for it, so they're legally streaming it. Yeah, man, watch wrestling. I know about watch wrestling. Come on. I understand a lot of people stop watching AEW this time for Tony Khan to bring in a new fan. I think if they can bring in new fans, I think, again, Max is going to play a big deal, but I do think that they need to get back. I mean, part of it is they need to get back their stars, but they also need to, like, just get back to booking, like, I think they need to get back to, like, more grounded booking that like, builds to the next week. An arc during, like give me an arc during the show that keeps me engaged and tuned in throughout, build to next week. And advertise your matches, right? You want people to show up to these shows, you got to advertise. You got to let them know on this day, in this city, at this time, Kenny Omega or Hangman Page, whoever, they are going to be there. That is an issue about why they're not selling as many tickets as they used to. I totally understand he has done a good job as a booker, but he needs to deal with one show instead of all these different shows. I don't think he should be booking Ring of Honor. I don't think Ring of Honor Rampage. I don't think he should be booking Collision and Dynamite is where he's most needed there. He should be doing that. It's AEW on budget cuts this year. They got rid of the stage, pyrotechnics, and LED barricades, the ring apron. They went from FHD cameras to pixelated cameras. Yeah, they are on a. They did have a few budget cuts. They definitely tried to tone down the stage for sure. The bigger one was like no pyro. That's probably the most noticeable one. Like AEW Dynamite. And Tony made like a big deal about this in the beginning, that in order for the production to feel big, you need to have I'm sorry. I just read a chat. I'll deal with that one later. But in order for the production to feel big, you need to have like pyro. You need to have like the feel of a big show, and then pyro helps. That's probably the biggest one that's noticeable. I do think though that like, you know, I would like to see them go back to like the more minimalist set they used to have. Like, I call it the chandelier set because I don't know what else to call it. Like, it had the two screens and the chandelier in the middle. I love that set, man. Bring that back. It's minimalist. It gives you a special feel. People know that you're watching AEW when that set is there. And I don't know. Nostalgia, too. Look how low the interest in and popularity of wrestling was when AEW started. And they helped rejuvenate it a lot. Don't be like Jim Cornette or Eric Bischoff. Hate because the company is not like it used to be. First of all, oh, man. Big Boss, shout out to you, my friend. But come on, man. Jim Cornette and Eric Bischoff. Yeah, brother. I am an out of touch wannabe hack who is going to talk about how great wrestling used to be when it was all bear hugs and Hulk Hogan, glaze fest on Nitro. Like, come on, bro. Maybe you haven't been watching the content. I don't know, but Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette is what we don't care about. All right, I'm gonna be so real with you, because I don't know. Like, if somehow you've watched any of my content before this and you think that I am Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette, I am definitely doing something wrong, because that's what I'm not, bro. I don't know what else to say. Curb. Shout out to you, my guy. What's up, Wall Street Money? How you been, bro? How you been? My favorite stage in Pyrotechnics was the one they had from earlier this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like the circular tunnels, like the ones they have now, the ones that kind of look like the end of condoms. I'm not a big fan of. I love AEW. Want to get better. I think it will. I mean, again, I say all this. My worry is more so from like a fan interest standpoint because AEW just does not feel anywhere close to being the hot show as it used to be. And it's not just like a dip that happened for a couple of months. It has been happening for over a year now. And again, something they need to reckon with. Like they just, and again, the Australia show, I will say, was always going to be a gamble. Like regardless of where they were, it was always going to be a gamble. But them moving that show, I don't think there's been much movement outside of the day one sales for AEW All In, although we haven't gotten like an official count yet from WrestleTix, so I'll have to wait on that. Like, but I am kind of like, it just doesn't feel like it's as hot as it should be, right? As it should be. Wrestling is always hot and cold. Yep, and I mean, and then the pendulum swings back and forth. I do think, excuse me, eventually we'll get to a point where AEW will like swing the pendulum back in their favor as far as being a hot show that everyone wants to see. But they're going to need a couple of shots in the arm. They're going to need to actually like do something about it, I don't understand and the hate wrestling fans give Mercedes because she's not in WWE. I mean, a lot of it is tribal. Like are there criticisms of Mercedes Moné you can say, sure. Are her promos like not for everyone? Yes. But to deny that in the ring and in other aspects, the way she comes off, her aura, for lack of a better term, isn't that of a star. I mean, I think part of it is just people want to see her in the WWE. And there's just going to be a certain level, there's going to be certain fans, right, who are like, no matter what, I don't care about CM Punk in WWE. I only want to see him in AEW. I don't care about Mercedes Moné in AEW. I only want to see her in WWE, right? There's always going to be those tribal fans out there. It's part of the issue I have with pro wrestling. Like, I'm pretty like involved heavily in both like wrestling Twitter or in like wrestling Twitter, sports Twitter, and political Twitter. And of all of those, the one that makes me want to leave the app the most is by far wrestling Twitter. Because I can deal with people's shitty takes on sports. I can deal with people disagreeing with me on politics. What I can't deal with is just some of the like psychotic behavior online when it comes to professional wrestling fans. And again, this is like a subsect of fans that is like apparently like 10% of the people who actually watch the show. Like, so it shouldn't be, and it is not indicative of all wrestling fans or even all online wrestling fans. Because some people I know who are on YouTube or on IG or whatever aren't on Twitter. It's maybe stupid, but is Megan Bayne a free agent? The eternal question, Will Chisholm. By the way, shout out to Will Chisholm. The eternal question. I mean, I believe that she was in AEW. Was she not? Like, wasn't she signed with AEW? I think Fightful Select had an update about this. Oh, never mind. Okay, so AEW and Megan Bayne engaged in talks, but she's still a free agent as of a couple of months ago. But yeah, no, that's a great question because I was like, man, wait a minute. What is Megan Bayne doing? What I'm noticing about the TK Triple H era is that the booking only gets good during All In WrestleMania season. That is, where's the lie? Where's the lie? She wants to bet on herself. Same thing with Samantha. Hopefully we see Samantha pop up soon. They should have waited a month before the show in Australia just to see what happens with tickets. When WWE went to Australia, tickets were very slow until the week of before most of all of them. Yeah, I mean, I also think like, look, with the Australia thing, it was a situation where you had a stadium, right, a legitimate stadium that holds like 40, 50,000 people. You only sold 10,000 tickets, and I also think they're understanding like they have a couple of shows in between that. You have obviously every AEW Dynamite, every Collision, all that kind of stuff to promote. You also want to promote All In, like ticket sales for All In, because that's going to be a heavy thing they're going to hit you with over the next couple of months. But on top of that, they also want to promote like World's End. They also want to promote the Revolution show. It's a couple of weeks after, just like 2-3 weeks after the Grand Slam show. They also want to promote AEW New Japan Wrestle Dynasty, which is like the week after World's End. So it's not just like a thing of like, well, they should have waited, because I think they saw that and they were like, all right, of all of these shows, this one is the least important. We were being frank, right? This one's the least important. We got 10,000. All right, cool. If we get to like 13,000 by the time that we hit, ring time and we're in an arena, it's going to sound great. It's going to feel great. It's going to look great. And that's good. That's good. They should do that. That show is going to be a fun show to watch, right? Because you're going to have like about 10 to 13, whatever thousand dedicated AEW fans in there in Australia. AEW have women's wrestlers for Mercedes, however, are booking. I do think like there's definitely things they could have done to make this a lot more, a lot better, for sure. Not everyone is going to benefit of Triple H booking looking the same. Lucas Santos Escobar, Ice Cold, Giovanni Vinci. Shout out to my boy Giovanni Vinci, man. Shout out to the Italians as of late. Who do you think is going to be the first company to go to Dubai, WWE or AEW? Probably WWE. I could see that. Like WWE is going to go wherever the money is, unless like I don't think like there's like some sort of like Gulf contract or whatever they sign where it's like with Saudi Arabia where it says like, oh, they can't do any shows in any other Gulf states. I think WWE, if they have if Dubai comes calling and has enough money to offer them, they will go. AEW's always been a big gamble. That's why the theme was all in, double or nothing. Tell him when he's telling lies. No lies told at all, my friend. In other news, I saw Collision. Tony Storm is a creature genius. This makes me less angry. Her first match was on Rampage. I'm still angry about that. Completely different of her first match on Collision. Completely different. All right? Different conversation. Rampage is crazy. That show is going to be canceled in that month. That show, there's like 3 episodes of Rampage left. Like, dead ass. There's like 3 episodes of that show left. And there's no hype around it. 100 to 200,000 people watch that every week. Ain't nobody care about Rampage. That is a failed show. All right? That's what it is. You're putting Tony Storm on that show? That is crazy. That is I will never understand that booking. For Collision, I at least understand because you want to sell tickets. You want to create a hype around that show. It is in a different building. It's not recorded at the same time as Dynamite was. Totally fine. Understood. You already had the people there for Rampage. You already had them there. I don't know. WWE had a monopoly for 2 decades. Yeah. And it is always going to be hard for AEW to break into that and take that market share. I am brother about Tony Storm being on Rampage. Yep. Man, Tony Storm on Rampage was crazy. I do think the stuff though they're gonna do with her is cool. Like the whole amnesia gimmick where she's like, she doesn't even know that she was. They're starting from like a standpoint of she just signed with AEW, which is hilarious. Like she still thinks it's like 2021, 2022. They should have done Dynamite taping in Australia first to make the presence known before. Yeah, I mean, they could have. But I mean, look, the logistics of that, though, are kind of crazy. You only want to do that unless you only want to do that in the case that you have a big show planned in Australia, like an All In. Like that's why they waited to do one in England, right? Before All In. Because you don't know what the market is and you don't know if it's going to be worth it. Because think about it like this. You not only have to ship buy tickets for all the talent that are going to be on that show, staff, hotels, shipping like parts of the entrance. It is not an inexpensive affair to do that kind of stuff. I prefer the Rampage theme to Collision, which is just a Nitro ripoff. How did the Nitro song used to go? Step on the table. I miss the old AEW Dynamite song. The old pop. Do it on one more time. Do. Boom. I don't know. My favorite is always going to be the Saturday nights. Elton John, bro. Elton John used to kill it. He's still killing it. What's going on with Britt in AEW? Feels like she doesn't want to be there vibes. I don't think that's the case. I think there's just not much for her. And I think like that's the issue. Like a star like Britt Baker should not get lost in the shuffle, right? There should be mechanisms in place to make sure she's on TV. She did return to the main event of Dynamite and was featured on Collision. Tony did, not Britt Baker. She was also on Rampage, though. Tony also wrestled on Rampage, which is still crazy to me. If you're going to a new country, do an arena show first. Yeah, again, but it's like it's a very expensive affair to do that. Like, you want to do it if you know you have that guaranteed money coming in. And a lot of ways to get that guaranteed money, you got to put on like a big stadium show. That was the formula they did for All In, and it worked. Excuse me. Bring back the Winged Eagle belt. Well, speaking of the Winged Eagle belt, Saturday night's main event was last night. I know a lot of people are wondering, like, oh, well, why'd you give it an A or whatever? Why'd you think? Look, I'm going to be very honest with you. I did not and will not grade that show on a scale of a PLE. You cannot. That was not a PLE. Saturday night's main event is a TV special. And if you ask me for what it was for a TV special, I think it accomplished everything it needed to. It was a fun show. The spectacle of Saturday night's main event was the thing that carried the show. The stars were also really cool. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was a fun show. I think I couldn't have thought of a lot of ways, to make that show better. Because at the end of the day, it is just a very, very, very hyped up version of Monday Night Raw. That's what it is. And if you're asking me for a television special, I watched that. I was entertained. I thought it was a good show. That was a great show. Remember 10 months ago, AEW bring back the ranking system. It was failed. Shout out to Jimmy Jacobs for taking that away. Yeah, it wasn't pre at all. What wasn't pre at all? A PLE. Oh, okay. Yeah. It wasn't a PLE. It was never going to be a PLE. A lot of commercials. I mean, these commercials killed me on this show. I ain't gonna lie to you. But it is also a TV special, so I get it. Britt Baker is overrated. Not at the level of top girl in AEW. I think she's still one of the best like promos and characters on the show. I thought Randy was going to show up at the end. Nope. But Kevin Owens did an homage to Randy Orton when he broke Cody Rhodes' neck, basically. I messaged Tony Khan's ex-post, replied, book AEW in 2025, how WWE booked in 2015. He replied with the eye emojis. Tony Khan being cryptic online. Interesting. Oh, man. Guys, what do you guys want to talk about? But yeah, Saturday night's main event was fun. I enjoyed watching that show. Jesse the Body Ventura smoked every heel commentator in the business, by the way, last night. Because this man, I know for a fact, has not been watching anything professional wrestling over the past, like 20 years probably. But he came in there hot, and he was like, Look at all of these people in here. They are here to see Liv Morgan. Did you see the way she took that shot to the head? I'll tell you that, man. Dominic Mysterio sure knows how to pick him. Jesse Ventura, give me every Saturday night's main event. Give me Jesse Ventura on commentary. That man is hilarious. He gets it. And if you don't know Jesse's like commentary, go back and watch WWE or WWF, I guess, like leading up to up until I think like WrestleMania 6. He was amazing. On commentary, man. That man, chef's kiss. Who's gonna? I'm just gonna do these. I can't do these, and I'm gonna do the next couple of these in Jesse Ventura's voice. Who's gonna be the first company to do a? I can't do it. Who's gonna be the first company to do a show? Dubai, Coca-Cola Arena, WWE or AEW? Probably WWE. AEW is where the best wrestling. I mean, look, yeah, the best wrestling is still on AEW. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to see action, if you want to see the matches, AEW is your place to go. 100%. 100%. I'll never argue that because, again, I'm not someone who necessarily prefers WWE style of wrestling because for me personally, it's way too slow. But I also see like the reason in having that, right? I think there's good things that both companies do. McGinnis is the best in the business. McGinnis is great. Shout out to McGinnis. But Jesse Ventura running laps around McGinnis. Shout out to my boy Jesse Ventura, man. I think Judgment Day might break up next year. Jesus Christ. All right, sure. And no. That wasn't you, Frank G. But I'm just like, man, I gotta wait another year. How many years, dude? I'm so sick of these. Like, yeah, maybe the Bloodline will do something in like a year. Like, ain't nobody care, bro. Ain't nobody care, man. Like, just please, give me a payoff. That's all I ask. Give me a fucking payoff. Give me Vince back on commentary. That's what we not doing. No, I think he means 2025. Ah, okay. Nope, none of that. None of this. Jesus. I'm objectively balancing on the ball. Jesus. Oh, man. Sad to see Jimmy Butler go, but it's time. What did Jimmy Butler do? Did he retire? Or did he get injured? What's going on here? Halfway out the door. Jesus, man. Jimmy, no. No way. Jimmy Butler wants to... Oh, damn. Jimmy Butler rents Miami Beach house. Hey, yo. Yeah, that looks cooked. Send my boy to Dallas, though. Imagine that starting lineup. Klay Thompson, Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, and Kyrie Irving. Cook. They're going to cook with that. Do you think Cody will lose the belt at WrestleMania? Depends who he wrestles. But as of right now, I don't think so. I just don't see him losing it before Mania. And I don't know. I mean, unless he wrestles John Cena, I don't think he's going to lose it at Mania. If they do book Cody versus John Cena and not Cody versus The Rock or something, I think it should be him. Cena should beat Cody for that belt. Anyway, guys, I'm still sick. My chest hurts like a motherfucker. Oh, I just said that. I was supposed to say mother effer. So got another like 5 minutes in me before I have to head on out. So get your last chats in. Be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what's on your mind. I wish Chelsea Green would replace the U.S. champion for the Divas champion. She's going to get a lot. That would be crazy if she brought back the Divas title. Although it would fit the gimmick. It would fit the gimmick. I do think like if the title was like not established, or if the title was like established for like a year or something, they could do a thing where, remember how MJF like took away the international championship and turned it into the American championship for his little run? Yeah, I think they could do that and with Chelsea Green and have it be the Divas championship, and it would be great. But don't see that in the cards here. I just think that title is just too new. You know? Could Cody turn heel? My brother, I wish. Because let me tell you something. Heel Cody Rhodes is the reason why Cody became so popular with the fans. That is the reason. Cody in ROH and TNA as a heel, a dickhead heel, he was cooking. Jimmy Butler going to Houston. Green, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Yo, Don crashing out in the chat. Yeah, it fits her perfectly, but it's too soon. Yeah, I mean, I would love it. Maybe they could do it like they could do it where she loses the belt and then like maybe a couple of months from now she wins it back and she turns into a Divas Championship and have a babyface come in and reclaim the Women's United States title. That'd be cool. That'd be and like I know people are gonna be like, oh, and they're stealing a thing for AEW. I mean, that's a cool thing. Here's $45. That's 20 more than you. Amazing. That is like for those of you who are wondering what this is in reference to. And I think I talk about this a lot because it is one of my favorite moments in wrestling history. Cody Rhodes, as Brandy is about to wrestle someone in TNA, comes out, interrupts the match, says, ho, no. This match is not happening. You are not going to sully the Rhodes name by wrestling on this show. Because that is how in the mud TNA was. That they were going to not just that like Cody was in character was like, I don't want you wrestling on the show, but the fact they allowed Cody to come out and say that is crazy in real life. But he went out there and he he said, "You're not wrestling on the show, Brandy." Then he looks over at her opponent and he's like, "All right, here you go. Here's $45. That's 20 more than they were going to pay you. Bye." Amazing, dickhead Cody heel. And the stuff he would do in ROH, yelling at fans, like, I still want the payoff. I don't know. Again, it probably won't happen. It probably won't happen at this point. I want the payoff to Cody and Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega took the best crossroads ever that anyone will ever take, and there was no payoff to it. It sucked. Funny how TNA went full TNA to bring back Tessa Blanchard, making Jordynne Grace putting over Tessa before she may be going to WWE. I mean, yeah. I just did, by the way, if you guys want to check it out, I just made a video about Tessa Blanchard's return, kind of chronicling all that whole thing, that whole situation. So if you're not familiar with that, please go check that out. Also, guys, while I have you here, on my other channel, Real Take Sports, I just came out with a really big video that I'm proud of, chronicling the problem with Justin Tucker, Baltimore Ravens kicker, used to be was still the greatest kicker of all time, but is going through a bit of a slump. Go check that out. YouTube.com/Real Take Sports and YouTube.com/Wrestle Vibes for all the docu-style video essay-esque content over there. They had a match, Cody, ROH versus Omega. Yeah, but like that wasn't the payoff to like that feud, That was just a throwaway match. Come on, man. Just give me Cody, go back to AEW. Or Kenny, I don't want Kenny in WWE, though. That's what I don't want. Although it would still be fun. Anyway, give me, if it gets us Cody versus Kenny, get out of your contract and go, buddy. It's time to go. Punk your way. Go up in that podium. Eat a muffin. And let them know you're hurt, you're old, you're tired, and you work with fucking children. Let them know. Tessa was the last TNA World Champion the majority cared about. It's true, but yeah. I watch Real Take on YouTube. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. My boy Frank. All right, guys. I'm tired. It's cooked. Last question. Do you think Shane will show up at World's End? I am less optimistic about that than I've ever been. I don't think this is leading to Shane anymore. I still think he should show up, but I don't think he will. I saw you at Wrestle Dream in October. Did you really? Why didn't you say hi? I was with Mr. Kenny Baum in the building at the Tacoma Dome. If you ever see me at a wrestling show, if you know I'm going to a wrestling show you're going to be at, always DM me, whatever, email, all the information's somewhere here. In the comments, maybe, on the channel, on Twitter. Just find me. Just email me or DM me or whatever, and we'll meet up, man. It's all good. Always. Never be afraid. But shout out to Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream was a fun show. That was a fun show. I met Taco Kid there, too. It was a fun show. I want to see AJ Styles versus Bryan, Omega, and Ospreay before they retire. I don't think we're going to see AJ versus... Actually, no. AJ has a decision to make. Is what I will say. He has his contract coming up in 2025. Going to be interesting to see what he does. Genuinely. So, we'll see. You're on the opposite side of the arena. Man, I made laps around that arena during that Jericho match. Just let me know, man. There's always one match that I'm always going to be like, all right, I will watch this on TV because I'm cooked at an AEW show. I am cooked. There's so much happening. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you. We got Cody Era, Wall Street Money, Frank. I'm objectively balanced and on the ball. It's a fantastic name. Will Chisholm. Skeletons, I think. Yodon. Everyone in the chat. Kerwin. Thank you guys so much for showing up, showing out. Shout out to everyone who showed up. Shout out to Roddy for the super chat. Appreciate all of you guys. Hope you have a happy Sunday. Hope you have a great next week. Gonna be a fun one. Until next time, though, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.